The Oklahoma Sooners just landed a big boy on the defensive line. I almost said offensive line there. On the defensive line for the 2025 class in Kamori Moore. And the 2025 class for Oklahoma seems to still be trying to spark that fire before it just goes up in flames and burns out the recruiting cycle in 2025. I don't even know what I'm saying. But guys, I'm excited because Oklahoma just landed a commitment from Kamori Moore, who is teammates with the one and only Williams Winery. But guys, before we talk about it, before we jump into it, we got to have you guys take care of a couple house cleaning tips. Go ahead and hit that like and hit the subscribe button and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are around the recent commitment for the Oklahoma Sooners in the defensive lineman out of Lee Summit North, Kamori Moore. So we've talked about the Sooners under the stars and how this could be a big weekend for the Oklahoma Sooners, especially with Party at the Palace being on the tail end of Sooners under the stars. And Kamori Moore was a defensive lineman out of Lee Summit North that was visiting Oklahoma. And if you watched over at Jay over at Unfair Sports, that's one that we talked about as a, hey, you got to kind of watch it, potentially could pop off. This is like, I think his third or fourth visit to Oklahoma, if I recall correctly. So you started to feel really good about where Oklahoma landed. And ultimately, Kamori Moore decides that he wants to shut it down after the staff really just made moves along that recruitment this weekend. And it's important because if you look at Kamori Moore, he plays on the same defensive line as Williams Winery. And, you know, he's only going to rise through the recruiting rankings as the 247 folks and On3 guys continue to be able to evaluate talent. So we only say, welcome to the family, Kamori Moore. You get a chance and an opportunity to help Kevin Sperry and Grayson Harris grow this team. And Oklahoma now has a landmark player for their 2025 defense. Yes, you heard me right. A player that is going to be able to go out there and recruit for the defense for Oklahoma. And Kamori Moore put it down in his tweet in a perfect way. He said, the only thing that's on my mind is being the first member of the 25 power line. So I guess that's what we're going to call it now, the power line. And he said 1,000% committed. Hashtag powerline25, hashtag OUDNA. Now, Oklahoma currently sits at number 8 in the recruiting rankings with 3 commits, behind the likes of Michigan, TCU, Ohio State, Clemson, Penn State, Alabama, and Georgia. Alabama has 6 commits. Alabama has 5 commits. Everybody else is in the 3 to 2 range. And you ask yourself, so how many more commitments could Oklahoma realistically come out of with Sooners under the stars? And I'm telling you, Oklahoma realistically probably could have somewhere in the range of 3 to 4. I think a lot of people have been expecting Gus Cordova to be potentially a commitment. It was probably the first one that people thought would fall for the Oklahoma Sooners. But then you've also got the 4-star wide receiver out of Lee Summit North, Isaiah Mosey, who is teammates with Kamori Moore and teammates with Williams Winery. And the question is, since the Oklahoma Sooners already have Caden Green on the team from last year's cycle, you've got Kamori Moore committed in 2025. If you can get Isaiah Mosey to lock it down, what does that do for the Oklahoma Sooners to potentially land a guy like Williams Winery, who, listen, I've seen y'all on social media today freaking out about the fact that Williams Winery is not attending the Party on the Palace, but it's going to be okay because it's going to be hard for Williams Winery to turn down so many teammates and so many opportunities to continue to play the game that he loves with friends. And so you would imagine if Oklahoma lands in Isaiah Mosey this weekend, it's going to be hard here for potentially in a couple weeks for Williams Winery to turn down Oklahoma, Todd Bates, and Miguel Chavis. Now, the question is, we look at who has been the best recruiter so far this recruiting cycle. And you could definitely say Emmett Jones carries that title, right? He's had a strong 2024 class, even without Terry Bussey. He has a strong 2025 class with the start of Grayson Harris. Not to mention, he's got other wide receivers that he could go out there and chase, like a Jaden Nickens, an Andrew Marsh, a DeCorian Moore. He's got the Elijah Thomas out of Chakotah. You've got Isaiah Mosey. There are opportunities for Emmett Jones to continue. You could also look at Todd Bates, who landed a Jaden Jackson, a defensive lineman that a lot of people didn't think Oklahoma really had a shot for up until the last minute. And then, of course, he goes out there and lands Kamori Moore as well in 2025. Regardless how you look at it, the staff is hot in July, and they might even be hotter going into August, which is funny to say because so many people were worried about exactly what was going on with the team and what was going on with recruiting because, well, in June, we only had like 7 commits. And I'm here to tell you, if y'all are worried about 7 commits in June of 2024, when we get into the 2025 cycle and we start that cycle, realistically, Oklahoma could have in the ballpark of 6 to 7 commits. That's a possibility, and it's a real possibility. And so I look at what the Oklahoma Sooners are doing on the recruiting trail with the addition of Kamori Moore to this class and what this defensive line could look like, where you might in 2024 have absolutely cleaned up. And in 2025, you got guys like Ethan Utley, Xavier Ukponu. You've got on the edge, CJ Nixon, Jaden Woods, Alexander Shieldknight. Oklahoma has an opportunity going into the SEC to host one of the best defensive lines in the country. When you think about what Todd Bates and what Miguel Chavis is doing on the recruiting trail, this is what you all expect. Now, David Stone, Williams Nwaneri, we expect them to follow later in the cycle. Additionally, you look at guys like Danny Okoye and ask, would he want to be a part of this class for Oklahoma if the defensive line looks that elite? Does he want to give them a shot? What about the likes of Zina Yumio Azulu or Nigel Smith? Regardless how you look at it, Oklahoma's in fantastic position. And guys, I'm going to be bringing you guys an interview with Kamori Moore to talk about why he chose Oklahoma and to talk about his recruitment and why he wanted to shut it down early. And I kind of want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to jump down in the comments below and drop some questions that you guys would like me to ask Kamori Moore. And listen, we're going to give you guys shout outs. We are going to give you guys all the credit in the world. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. Keep your eyes peeled. But additionally, let me know what you guys think about the 2025 class for Oklahoma. I was talking to a recruit today, and I'll tell you this. I've been told that Kevin Sperry is a really good recruiter. It's going to be hard not to play with him. So jump down in the comments below, subscribe, give me your guys' questions. Let me know what y'all think. We'll see y'all next time.